Just want to say, absolute honor to be here. Absolute honor. I want to share some of my thoughts with you today, but before I do that, again, I want to offer my condolences to the families that are here this morning. A lot of contributing factors led to me having a career in health and safety, and I want to share a couple of those contributing factors with you here this morning. I, like most juniors, seniors in high school, I had a plan. I knew everything, and I had an awesome plan. My dad worked at Gladfelder Paper Mill. I had the same plans for myself. Although my dad tried to tell me many times through my teenage years to come up with a new plan, I said, nope, I know what I want to do. I want to work 7 days a week swing shift in a paper mill. And what I learned early on is this: there is a big difference between saying and talking about working 7 days a week in a factory swing shift and working 7 days a week in a factory. Big difference. All right, I remember growing up vividly an incident that occurred where a 19-year-old summer student was fatally injured at Gladfelder. In June of 2003, I started my career at Gladfelder as a 19-year-old, full-time, hourly United Steelworker, Local 1303. Unbeknown to me at that time, I was the first domino to fall that led me down to this path. I found out the hard way how grueling it can be to work in a paper mill, and I knew at that point I need a change. I need a change. So I went to work at ESAB Welding and Cutting Products, again, as an hourly worker. United Auto Workers, Local 1968, proud member. It was there where I met just some awesome people. And some of those people are here with me today, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much for supporting me. It was also at ESAB Welding and Cutting Products where I met Mr. Tony Cemento, Cemento Industrial Training Systems. One day after one of his trainings, he touched me in a way that just really moved me to make a decision. And I walked up to him after his training session and I said, Tony, I want to do what you do. And his response to me is one I'll never forget. He said, be careful what you wish for. 6 months later, I was in business for myself, educating workers in the workplace what safety is really all about. In 1970, 38 workers per day wake up, kiss their spouse, they go to work, and they never come home. We fast forward to 2016, it's 14 workers per day wake up, get dressed, kiss their spouse, walk out the door, and they don't come home. That's one every hour and 43 minutes. How long does it take you to mow your grass, trim your yard, and clean up? If it takes you about an hour and 40 minutes from the time you start until you finish, we will have lost an American worker. Those are some statistics for you. But safety is not about charts, graphs, and statistics. One thing all these workers had in common is they, like you and me, they had families, they had plans, they had holidays, they had gatherings. You see, we know and we understand that it takes a lifetime to build hopes, dreams for your family. It takes a lifetime of work to do that. And in a split second, a split decision, it can all be torn away and can be crumbled. As the late, great Vince Lombardi once said, perfection is not attainable. But if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. I just said safety is not about charts, graphs, and statistics. Safety is about people coming together, putting your arm around that person when they need you most, looking out for one another. To have a brother or sister's back, it's about our families. It's about our quality of life and what we do when we're not at work. In 1 hour and 45 minutes, my 4-year-old son, Austin, will be participating in his first T-ball game. I can tell you this, as you can tell by the smile on my face, I am very excited for him today to make contact, run to third base, and when he takes the field, start drawing in the dirt. The attention span is not that long at this level. I'm going to say something, and when I say it, I might catch you by surprise. Safety is not a priority. You heard me. Safety is not a priority. Because as all of us standing here and sitting no today, our priorities change. Priorities change. Safety is a value. It is a belief. It's not something that we should be having to think about. It's something that we should just do. I want to share with you a story. Her name is Regina Elsey, and she works in an Alabama automobile manufacturing facility that supplies parts. She's a good student, loves to read, loves horses, dogs. Her dream, her plan, much like mine, was to become a pediatrician. She had a plan as well. She enrolled in a community college on a federal Pell Grant. Her dream and her plan was to eventually transfer to Auburn University, which was 30 miles from her house. But, as we know, sometimes plans change. And they did in this case. She ended up dropping out of school so she could save up enough money, go to work, save up enough money, and support her and her fiance, who was her kindergarten sweetheart. Elsey went to work in February of 2016 for this Alabama automobile parts supplier. She worked there with her sister and her stepdad. Her mother warned her against it, just did not think it was a great idea. Said, "Regina, you have no idea what production pressures are like. At times, it can be almost unbearable." She worked 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. I can relate to that, minus the 12-hour shifts. When she got her first paycheck, she literally thought, "I'm rich. I'm rich." Her goals went from becoming a pediatrician to now removing the temp label from her title. You see, Regina was a temp worker there. She was making $8.50 per hour. If she could remove that temp label from her name and become Regina Elsey, full-time employee, her salary would raise to $10.50 an hour. Once that happened, she told her stepdad and her mother that college can wait. On June 18, 2016, Regina was working day shift when Robot 23, the machine that she was working at, flashed stud fault. Robot 23 mounted pillars on dashboards for side view mirrors. Bolts would get stuck on this machine on a regular basis. Maintenance was called to fix an issue once this machine read this fault. A video was obtained by OSHA that shows 3 workers waiting impatiently. You see, they were piece rate. The goal or requirement was 420 dashboard frames per shift. They seldom hit 350. So as they're waiting for maintenance to arrive, they're getting impatient. And unfortunately, Regina decides to take matters into her own hands. She takes what appears to be a screwdriver, enters that guarded area around the robot, walks out around it, back into the machine. And whatever she did with that screwdriver to Robot 23, it surged back to life. And do you know what Robot 23 thought? Robot 23 thought Regina was a dashboard frame. It smashed her, 2 welding prongs come through and impale her upper body. Once that happens, she's hunched over. Her eyes are open, but she's speechless. No one in the general area knew how to make that robot release her. Nobody. So the team leader of the area drives to the break room. This was a Korean-based company. They find a maintenance technician. He speaks very little English. He gets down there and he does what some people would say he panicked. He runs away. He sees the issue and he runs away. Now, I'm a certified instructor through the National Safety Council to perform instruction on first aid, CPR, and AED. And what we always say, you never know how you're going to react in an emergency until the rubber meets the road. This individual here reacted with fear, and he ran away. Team leaders begin to get very angry, and they finally call 911. Once emergency services show up, they do what Regina failed to do. They locked that machine out, verified that the machine was at a 0 state of energy, and went in and removed Regina. An ambulance took Regina to the hospital, and to add insult to injury, she died the next day. She died on June 19th, 2016, which happens to be Father's Day of 2016. So my question is this: does anybody think that was the first time that young lady walked inside that machine and just got lucky enough to know right where to put that screwdriver? I think we can agree, probably not. Probably was not her first time. Do we think that she was seen before? Yes, she probably was. Who was she seen by? Us. Hourly workers. Our brothers and sisters may watch us perform tasks like that sometimes. Okay? We need to have each other's backs. We don't need supervision breathing down our neck. And I'll be honest with you. As most of you know that come from a factory environment, sometimes a supervisor would walk right past and say nothing as well. Because why? The P word, production. We need to have each other's backs. That's my message here. Sure, it can be a difficult conversation to have, but we need to have it. I'm not talking about walking up to the person you don't like and busting their chops, saying that I've seen you do something unsafe. I'm talking about having a constructive conversation with another person that has a family at home. I bet Regina's mom wishes somebody would have walked up to her daughter prior to her making that mistake that she made and said to her, Regina, what are you doing? We should wait for maintenance to get down here. If there's anybody here that has a Facebook page, you can look up the name Regina Elsey, and there's an account there. And if you scroll through that account, what you'll find is this. Before the date of her death, you'll see a young lady that loved everything that I told you at the beginning of this presentation that she loved. She loved her family. She loved animals. She loved her fiance. After the date of her death, what you'll see is a heartbroken mother, sister, and stepfather. Absolutely crushed. A lot of times when we talk about safety training, what we'll say is for the victim, it's over. But for the family, it's just beginning.